One of the most common struggles of the lovers in Greek mythology is being separated by the veil of death. Many Greek love stories are not comedies, but tragedies. Two people love each other deeply, and then, due to the gods or fate or some other force, one or both of them die. Pyramus and Thisbe were deeply in love, but forbidden to see each other. They were only able to talk to each other through a crack in the wall of their neighboring houses. On the night that they finally decided to sneak out and run off together, Thisbe made it to the meeting spot first. While she was waiting for Pyramus to arrive, she spotted a lioness coming her way with a bloodied mouth from her latest kill. As Thisbe ran away, she dropped her cloak. When Pyramus arrived at the meeting spot, all he found was the bloody cloak that the lioness had chewed up. Thinking Thisbe dead, Pyramus killed himself so as to be on the other side of the veil with her. When Thisbe came back to the meeting spot when she felt the danger had passed, she discovered Pyramus lying in a pool of his own blood, and next to him her torn, bloodied cloak. She realized what had happened and so stabbed herself in the heart with Pyramus's sword. These two lovers could not bear to live with the other dead, and so they both died in the end. Another pair of lovers, Orpheus and Eurydice, were fated to be separated by death. Orpheus was the greatest musician of all the mortals. He fell in love with Eurydice and they got married. Immediately after the wedding, however, Eurydice was stung by a viper and she died. Orpheus was so upset that he made the journey to the underworld to get her back. He calmed all the monster guardians of the underworld with his music, and even Hades himself was moved to tears. Eurydice would be allowed to go back with him if, and only if, he did not look back for her as she followed him out of the underworld. If he looked back before they reached the surface, she would be lost to him forever. The moment he made it to daylight, he turned to look at her, but it was too early. She hadn't made it out yet. She was pulled back into the underworld, and the gods would not allow him to enter a second time to retrieve her. She was lost to him forever. He wandered the earth alone until the day he died. Orpheus was separated from Eurydice by death, and he could not overcome that barrier until he himself died. Yet another couple that struggled because they were separated by death were Ceyx and Alcyone. These two lovers were devoted to each other, and rarely seen apart. When Ceyx decided to take a long journey across the sea to visit the oracle, he made Alcyone stay home because the trip was very dangerous. While Ceyx was out at sea, a fierce storm sank the ship, and he drowned. Alcyone waited at home for a long time for her husband's return. When she finally learned of his death, she went to the beach and found his body washed upon the shore, and was overcome with grief. As she threw herself into the water after him, she transformed into a bird, and found that Ceyx had been transformed as well. Their love was unchanged, and the two birds were always found together. These stories are just a few of many that end in tragic death for lovers. When faced with the struggle of their love dying, the other usually follows suit.